For local election headquarters.
Welcome back to This Week in Louisiana Politics. We're joined in studio by Louisiana's Attorney General, Liz Murrill. Thanks for coming on.
It's great to be with you.
Well, we have a lot to talk about. In fact, these interviews, we usually just do one segment, but with you, since your office has so much going on, we're going to do two segments for this. We're going to jump into the abortion pill controversy, and there was an extradition as well. So just a little background on that. A New York doctor is charged with sending an abortion pill to a minor in Louisiana. She's been charged with that. You signed off on the extradition, but Governor Kathy Hochul said she's going to fight that. In fact, I want to read you a quote.
Yeah, and just to correct, she sent it to the mother, not to the minor.
Oh, okay.
She sent the pills to the mother, and the mother coercively...
Is the mother charged as well?
The mother is charged, yes.
Okay, so this case is very involved. Anyway, Governor Kathy Hochul said, quote, "Some states want to prosecute our providers, but I'll fight like hell to protect them." What's your reaction to that, and what's next?
She's not a provider. She's a drug dealer. She didn't provide care to anybody. She never met even the mother that she sent the pills to. This was all an online transaction that she engaged in, where the mother never even had a face-to-face meeting with her, and the mother was obtaining the pills to coerce her daughter into taking them. So, you know, she had no doctor-patient relationship or even communication, even tangentially, with the child that was coerced into taking the pills.
She just did this online?
Correct.
So she never met with the minor or the mother?
No. I mean, she never had a face-to-face meeting with the mother, and she certainly never met the minor.
So what is next legally? If the governor says, I will protect this resident of my state, is there anything you can do?
So I've been looking at all of the legal tools that I have to be able to kind of make sure that we are able to enforce Louisiana law. I don't believe that it is the governor's role to decide which laws of Louisiana she will comply with regard to an indictment. It would be like her saying, well, I don't like their battery or assault or murder or drug laws, and so, you know, you could say that with marijuana laws, for example. Like, I don't like people being charged with possession of marijuana, so I'm not going to extradite somebody that mails drugs into our state. It's really not any different from that. So I think what she's doing is wrong, and I don't think she has the legal authority to do it. But in order to challenge her, I would have to bring a legal action, probably in federal court.
And that's going to happen?
I'm looking at that. I think it very well could happen, yes.
So it's also possible that it won't happen?
Well, it's right. I mean, I'm not in a hurry to sue the governor of New York. I think that I'm looking at all the tools that we have to make sure that Louisiana law is enforced. What happens when you are indicted is that it goes into a national system. Mm-hmm. And so that indictment is now everywhere in every state, and if this doctor travels anywhere, she could be arrested somewhere else.
She tries to get on an airplane?
That's right.
Something could happen then too.
If she gets out the plane in Atlanta or in Houston or somewhere like that, then those are states that will recognize our extradition laws. There is an indictment for her arrest for violating a criminal law in Louisiana, the same as if she had violated any other criminal law in Louisiana, and she can be extradited back to our state if she's in a state that cooperates.
Gotcha. Okay. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Hope you'll let us know if something happens with that case as well. We'll move on to the death penalty. Earlier this month, Governor Jeff Landry announced that Louisiana will restart executions. He wants district attorneys and the courts to wrap things up so that they can get these started again. You had said in response to this, these are the worst of the worst. The families of these victims have waited long enough for justice, and Louisiana will put them first. You're obviously in lockstep with the governor on this.
Right. I mean, I think a lot of people have waited a long time to see justice for, you know, the victims of very, very heinous crimes. Wayne Gazzardo is the father of one of those victims, of one of the individuals who's currently on death row, and he testifies in every hearing, every legislative hearing, that he lives to see justice carried out for his daughter. And you know, the law promised that justice to him. He promised it to his daughter, who is dead. There's a case that has been set up in North Louisiana in DeSoto Parish, and it involves brutalizing of a 6-year-old child who was tortured, strangled, and then scalded to death in hot water by his stepfather. I think that these are heinous crimes. I promised that we would ensure that the law is enforced.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Well, and opponents were glad to see a 15-year pause. Opponents of the death penalty point to things like exoneration, the state's high rate of exonerations. Does that lead you to believe that maybe someone could be wrongly executed or were executing the wrong person?
No, I'm confident that these cases have received an enormous amount of attention. If there was evidence of that nature, they've had 15 to 20 to 25 years in some cases to bring that evidence forward and have it heard by a court. We actually are very generous in our post-conviction relief and the ability of somebody on death row to get these claims heard. What death penalty litigation lawyers do is delay. That's good for them and for their client. And so, what I've said is that we need to come in and we need to make sure that justice is carried out. That doesn't mean that we deprive people of their rights. They should have appellate rights to review in these cases. They are very serious cases. They involve the most serious penalty that can be imposed under the law. So I don't take that lightly. But I also believe that people are entitled to the justice that the law promised them, and these are heinous cases. And so I think that we need the system to move more swiftly. They have had the ability, the 15 years basically that the law hasn't really been enforced, and that time is over. They've been able to take their claims to court during all of that time.
Do you see the courts to be able to act swiftly as the governor has requested?
I'm looking at every case. So there's 57 people right now, I think, that are currently on death row. Some of those people have exhausted all of their appellate rights, and those are the cases that are currently being sought to have warrants set by the district attorneys in those districts. My office is supporting them through the appellate process and dealing with all of the claims that we expect to be made to try and stop those dates from going forward. But other ones are in different stages of the appellate process, so I really have to conduct a thorough review of all of them to see where each one stands. I expect there to be some legislation this session that will ensure that there is kind of a period at the end of the appellate sentence, if you will, that people have a time to bring their claims, but that they can't leave them open for a decade and then come back and say, well, we didn't have time. Yes, you did. You had plenty of time. You always had that amount of time, and it was incumbent on the defendant to seek the relief that he believed he was entitled to under the law. We've been very generous in allowing all these claims to be made. It's their job to make sure that a court addresses the claim. And I'm going to make sure that we end that kind of lengthy, open-ended time period.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there. As we mentioned, we have so much to cover. If you would, keep your seat, and we'll be right back right after this.